Every once in a great while, a new beginning, a fresh start, an unheralded debut, the blowing of a breeze, the stirring of an echo, something new and different.
And a storm is descending on the west coast of the USA. This is the Grapple Podcast. Have a look at how good our set looks, Joel Spreadborough.
I'm pretty happy with it, Johnny Manning. Look, let's be honest, we're both Queenslanders, okay? We need to probably recruit a couple of New South Wales friends to represent the South.
Or not.
And New Zealanders.
Or not.
Probably not,
No,
let's be honest.
Just keep it as is. But Joel.
Yes.
This week in Rugby League.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my golly gosh. We haven't seen a week like this, I'm going to say, ever in Rugby League. Now, we can take it back to 1908 in Australia when it first started, when James J. Giltinan lured the great Herbert Henry Messenger across from Rugby Union. That was a big coup for Rugby League. State of Origin, 1980. That was a big coup for Rugby League.
Massive.
Even going back to, I don't know, the previous 15 or 16 years before 1908 when Rugby League existed in the north of England, there's nothing has happened that would even come close to rivaling what we're going through this week.
Could not agree anymore.
It's all about Las Vegas.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the Grapple. It's all about the Grapple podcast.
Yeah, no, it is. It's all about this podcast, but there's also the games in Vegas as well, mate.
That's happening as well the same week.
Yeah.
So this podcast is launching alongside Vegas. It's like we planned it.
We have absolutely zero official association with anything going on in Las Vegas other than we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But we are launching in tandem.
Yes.
And it's kismet. It's not by mistake. It's by design, isn't it, Joel?
It sure is. And I love it that we're getting in. And you'll notice if you're watching on in this podcast, we're both representing this week, the LA Mongrel. You're going to hear more about that. So much to wrap up with Vegas. We're going to talk about it. We're going to come back to Australia. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about lots of things. We're going to laugh. But let's just look at America really quickly, Johnny, because
America!
yeah.
Fuck yeah! You can say it. It's a
So
podcast.
it started a long time ago. There have been many attempts, not many successes. This is probably the most organised, the most brutal, the most
brazen.
Brazen, that's it. That's the word.
It's a bold-faced, brazen attempt by Peter V'landys, now not known as a shrinking violet himself, PVL, gone over there with both six shooters on both hips, shooting with both hands, saying this is Rugby League, gamble on it.
This is Rugby League.
This is Rugby League.
Rugby League.
Make sure you gamble on it.
And please, I don't mean that figuratively. I genuinely want you to gamble on it because that's how we're going to make the
saying, seriously, go to Las Vegas and gamble on this sport we call Rugby League because we all gamble on it here in Australia.
They're putting a lot of money into it, $200 million basically. This is not the first time. We know that. We're going all the way back to the 1930s. A great Harry Sunderland. He's so good. He's so revered in the game. There's a medal named after him.
Yep.
Sent a telegram, which was the style of the time.
Beep, 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 beep,
Dear
beep,
America,
beep, beep.
we'd love to bring this great game of
Harry
Rugby League
Sunderland,
over.
a Rugby League official from Australia.
And they're just like, sorry, a new phone, who dis?
They're like,
And he goes, look, I'd love to show you this game. I'd love to bring some guys over, two games. They don't wear pads. They smash each other. It's going to be great. All I need you to do is pay our ferry through the Panama Canal. We'll get them that far and just give us a transfer, pay the fees for the guys, and we'll be there. Nah, I'm going to give it a miss.
Crikey.
We're going to give it a miss.
Well, 1987, Long Beach, Veteran Stadium, Long Beach, California. An unofficial fourth state of origin is taken to the USA. New South Wales win. It's not counted.
Didn't count.
As a proper origin. I can remember watching that game.
Yeah.
And I can remember they're going through the crowd. They're interviewing Americans in the crowd who are losing their mind over the speed and the brutality of the game. And then obviously we had a USA team come out in the sevens.
Yes, absolutely.
In the early 90s as well. So there certainly have been a couple of forays over there into the good old US of A. But as you said, this is probably the most organised, the most direct, the most publicised, and the biggest.
The crossover is massive. Like the crossover between NFL and NRL that we're seeing here, where athletes are sort of dabbling across codes, there's a combine happening, all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything like it. When that game you mentioned, when they came over and played those exhibition games in the early noughties,
Yeah.
Bill Harrigan called a forward pass Or a quarterback threw a ball down the field. He goes, no. Shh, no. What are you doing? That doesn't count.
Yeah.
That's all gone out the window now. It's like, no. This is the sport.
The American
this is
fellow was standing in the shotgun. It was just a straight out post route.
Yeah.
And hit him in stride.
Yeah. Penalty.
Look, no one's mentioning Jared Hayne because he's a criminal. He's in prison. But what he did with the San Francisco 49ers was unbelievable. We've sent a lot of punters over from AFL. We've sent a couple of linemen over. So there's a couple of big units. Jordan Mailata currently playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, ex-league. Colin Scott's another big body who played as a lineman. The skill positions is where they struggle. Jason Taumalolo went over there and had a try with the Jets. Val Holmes had a year with the Jets. These skill positions, the changeover is so hard. Unbelievably hard. They're so specific in their sport, their position, their skill positions. You know, if you're a slot receiver, if you're a wide out receiver, if you're a tight end, if you're a running back, tailback, fullback, those skill positions are possibly the most specific positions in any team sport in the world. Obviously, the quarterback. You almost have to grow up playing it your whole life. There's a rugby union player over there from Wales called Louis Rees-Zammit. He's over there looking to try and cut his path over there. And the NFL is genuinely trying to make it a more global game. So they are attacking the world. So there's no surprise that Peter Vellani has taken a page out of the Roger Goodell book and said, let's take on the world.
Let's take rugby league or rugby leg to the world. And they're doing it. They've tried so many times. This one is a big one. I love it. Like, 2004, 4,500 fans turned up to watch Australia and USA. Play a pretty tight fought 36-24 result.
I once got told a story by the great Les Boyd.
Yeah.
They played a Super League, English league back then prior to Super League. He was playing for, this is when he was suspended. He was playing for maybe St. Helens, and they played Wigan at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. They played a game over there. He told me the story because he tried to fight Ellery Hanley on the field and off the field. And Ellery Hanley wouldn't fly home on the same plane as him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They got to the airport in Chicago, and Ellery Hanley said, I'm catching the next flight. I'm not getting on a flight with him. Oh, Boydie. Because he was a lunatic.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so they've played rugby league over there. And we do have a very, very special guest that we'll get to in just a minute.
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
All about rugby league in the USA, this fella.
It sure is. And look, we're going to talk about so many things. Who could make it? Who couldn't make it? Who wants to make it? And also going the other way. Who in the NFL could come to the NRL?
Yeah.
Who in the playing USA Sevens women's could play in the NRLW?
Yeah.
All of that sort of thing. This is the most concentrated effort. It has the attention. I think it has the attention of the American market. Maybe not the entire American market, but when you've got NFL players endorsing it, when you've got the likes, you mentioned Colin Scott coming out talking about some of the potential value, Colin Scott's, I should say, that the NRL stars could attract on that market as well. It's a very, very exciting time.
What makes me kind of giggle a little bit is when in an interview, one of these NRL players is saying, well, I'd be open to the shift to the NFL. That kind of makes me giggle a little bit because it's like the Grand Canyon, making a shift from what Jared Hayne did. Not everyone can do.
Very, very difficult.
He had size, speed, athleticism, obviously a bit of footy IQ as well. He was the total package as a contact, high-speed collision sport athlete. There's not too many of those guys.
So how big is the job of the NRL and of rugby league in general to get a foothold in America? And I think that question, you need to go further and say, how big is the foothold rugby league already has in America? And on that note, we have a very special guest.
We got a fella who can answer that question for us. Coming to us from South Bay of California, from Huntington Beach, is a friend of mine. He's from the north of England. He's a British fella in LA. He is the president of the Pacific Coast Rugby League. He is also the coach of the LA Mongrel, who, once again, I'm repping the 2023 jersey here. Joel's got the 2019 jersey there.
This is 2019.
2019 jersey. There is also, hang on, here we go. That's old 2019 California Rugby League jersey.
I love that's got a bit of gridiron about it, that one.
That's exactly right. It's got the numbers on the front and the back, right?
Yep.
Welcome to the Grapple, Mr. Ady Cooney. How are you, Ady?
I'm very well, Johnny. Thank you for having me. Excited to talk to you boys.
Well, you're our first guest.
You are our
first ever guest.
How's that make you feel, mate?
Totally honoured. Wasn't expecting it. You could have picked anybody leading
Anyone.
up into this event. And for you to pick me, I couldn't be any more honoured to accept it.
We've gone for you, baby. Don't worry about that. And I know I've been talking to you about this for a long, long time. And let me just say, it's great to see your face. Obviously, speak to you via, Messenger and everything pretty regularly. But it's good to clap eyes on you. The last time I saw Ady was in a. It was quite late one night. It was in London. We were both staring down at the bottom of an empty pint glass.
Oh, there you go. Memories or lack thereof. Hey, Ady, look, what time is it there at the moment? You're speaking of late nights.
Yeah, 10:15 p.m.
Ah, easy. Just getting started.
He's in Hollywood, man. He's in LA. That's when the day starts over there.
You've been hard to get though, because we say you were waiting for the call, but you've been getting calls left, right, and centre. You're in hot demand, and with good reason, because you can give us some insight and some perspective that we don't really get here in our studio here at River City Studios in Brisbane. Shout out, it's a great spot.
It's a brilliant spot. Have a look at this set. This is unreal.
It's really good.
It's brilliant.
It's really special.
We don't deserve it.
Look, no,
we don't deserve it.
We're going to need
certainly don't.
We're going to need to lift.
Yeah.
Ady, what's the vibe, mate? You've been out, you've been about, you've seen it, you've felt it, you've got the energy. A bit of a lift in the levels of enthusiasm for rugby league this week, I'm assuming.
I think in the rugby community, definitely. I think it's fair to say that if you were to walk down the street in LA, generally, not many people would be talking about it, because we've still got so much to do to spread the gospel of rugby league out here. But rugby union, rugby league, lads who are playing, women that are playing, are super excited for it. And because we've got the Nines event that we're going to be running the 2 days prior to the big games, there's going to be nearly 600 players that are all playing rugby league, and a lot of these are brand new to the game, never played it before. So hopefully then they build from that hype, they go back, they're going to witness everything that's going on down Fremont Street on Thursday at the launch, and then go back to their hometowns and fingers crossed, start more teams, which is ultimately what we want.
Ady, I want to take you back probably about 5 years, maybe even a little bit longer. It's when I first met you, and we got together and we said, okay, we need this. We've got this team in Los Angeles and we've got to get it ready for a game. Is that when you first started this rugby league quest in America, or were you doing stuff before then?
No, that was really the first time we got anything going. I moved here just coming up 11 years ago. And I remember writing to, I think it was Peter Ilfield at the time. He was the chairman of USARL, and saying, look, I'm a youth coach back in England. Is there any youth programs that, I'd love to carry on? So my son, who was 9 at the time, could carry on playing. And I went, no, if you want to launch something, feel free, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. And that was it. And I got a random message from Tom. I think it was back in June 2019, saying, if you're interested in playing, we're going to have this game. I'm like, I'm a bit too old to be playing these days, but I'd happily jump in and help out coaching. And obviously Johnny had already been appointed as the head coach at the time. So I came in to kind of work alongside Johnny, and, I've been there ever since. And, we've gone from that one cold, wet, windy, horrible day in San Francisco in December to now 14 teams out here on the West Coast, 4 on the East, and like the North American side on the RLU, them coming back into the fold as well. So there's potentially, going to be 20 teams out here next year, which is a great start to where we were.
That's
20
unbelievable.
teams. That takes us back to the post-Super League era, that immediate aftermath.
Yeah, the immediate year after Super League, there was 20 teams, yeah.
It was, quite a bustling competition. But I just quickly, for context, the Johnny that Ady is mentioning here is our own Johnny Manning, who was the inaugural coach, I believe, of the Mongrel.
Look, I literally warmed the seat for one game until the real fella took over. He's the real man that needed to be in charge, and that was pretty clear early on. But I kind of want to go back to that for a minute, because I was approached to play as well, and I was like, oh, you're kidding. But in hindsight, mate, I wish I'd played that game. I was thinking about that today, because I ended up coming back to Australia and playing a few games over here.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, all I had to do was pull my finger out of my ass and do a bit of training, and I probably could have helped the guys on the field a bit better.
Yeah, sure.
Than I did. But it was played, as Ady said, it was this Oh, this horrible, wet, cold, and windy night up in was it Oakland or San Francisco?
It was in Oakland, I think,
Oakland.
just across the bridge.
And it was on synthetic turf.
Oh, you played on. Okay.
And the lines of the field were really quite I guess ambiguous. It wasn't because there was like white lines and yellow lines. We're like, hang on, which line are we playing out of? Anyway, there was a couple of games on that night, and we had just a bare 17. Ady was just talking about his young son, Seth.
Yeah.
Seth at that time would have been what, like 16, 17?
I think it was 15.
15. And we gave Seth a jersey, and he's playing against men.
Playing against grown men.
Back then, Seth wasn't a big kid. And he's actually turned out to be a really good rugby league player. So.
Where did he play? Where did he debut that night?
We honestly, with the intensity of where those Islanders were hitting, it wasn't safe for him to play, so we held him back. But he did play the following year.
Yeah.
And he scored on his debut up at East Palo Alto, so he's not a bad guy, and he can kick a goal. We played last December, and he kicked 11 from 11.
Okay.
And
not bad.
Anyway, so that night we had the bare 17 with Seth, just basically filling a jersey. Well, he didn't fill a jersey too well back then, Ady. And we're playing against the San Francisco team with some guys who actually represented, played representative rugby, guys who were playing college rugby. And they actually pulled up almost the entire team from the game before and ran almost like a 15, 16-man bench. And we had 3 guys that we were interchanging. And they just ran a score on us. And it was demoralising. Because I remember, Ady, our first session in Long Beach, I can remember we got together and said, okay, I'm not sure what level these guys are at. And we said, let's just run a couple of ruck plays. And within about 30 seconds, we had to go, who knows how to play the ball?
Oh, okay.
That's the level that this fella right here is working with. We talk about trying to build this game. This fella's at the absolute coalface doing the genuine grassroots of selling this game.
Ady, I love hearing this. And going from then to now, you're talking about a potential 20-team comp in the very short-term future, which is awesome. What does that recruitment look like? Where are the players coming from that are filling the jerseys in 2024?
Yeah, so there's been for me a definite shift. That first game that we put on, there was Aussies in there, a couple of Brits, a couple of guys from American football, and a real mixed bag. But I think as you look at it now, most of the teams are pulling from people who are based here domestic. Exclude the Big Islander community up in Utah, where a lot of those guys have kind of moved out here and not had any rugby league to play. But like I look at LA Mongrel now, and we're 95% pulling from the LA region. With 1, maybe 2 overseas players in there, so it's a tough battle. Rugby union is still obviously favoured here highly, and we've got to find our little window where we can play, where we don't kind of compete. We want to try and work and get over this union versus league battle that we've had for ever so long, and understand that when you look at the higher levels of union now, and there are rugby league coaches that are part of that. Andy Farrell, Mike Ford, Sean Edwards, are all major influences in rugby union. So people are starting to see the benefit, especially on the defensive side. And we've gone out and partnered with local teams out here to try and, work with them and their defensive systems. And then some of the guys come over and say, look, I want to play rugby league as well. Or we've even had 1 or 2 that said, I just want to play rugby league going forward. And, it's not a battle to poach players. I think there are, benefits to playing both games. And as long as we can work out and work together, there's nothing stopping this from growing. I mean, right now, let's say we've got nearly 600 players coming out this week to play. There's probably 8, maybe 900 in the country, men and women combined, which is not a lot. By comparison, there's 50,000 people playing rugby union. I think in the California regions alone. So, the scope to get more people involved in this game is definitely there. And events like this week in Vegas, and if we can get it on mainstream TV, or Friday night, Saturday night, when people are sat in a bar going, Jesus shit, what's this? On the TVs and the bars, and even more people will then start getting interested. And the scope is massive, but it's it's going to take some time.
When you look back at your journey, Ady, how hard have you had to work just to get to where we are now?
Yeah, I'll probably have my wife not watch this because she'd probably kill me if she knew how many hours I put into it. But no, it's a passion of love, and it needs more people like that, in my opinion. That want to go and launch a team, go find sponsors. I drive 50 miles up to LA to coach twice a week. Not paid for it. I do have pure desire to help these people and see more Rugby League played. So it's tough, and the sooner we can get out there and get more teams launched, I think that make life a bit easier, and people will start finding clubs close to home rather than having to travel like they do now. Because like I said, we pull players from all over just to fill those gaps. So definitely a lot of work to do, but as I say, we do it because we love it.
I think you're right, though. The game certainly needs more guys like you who are just willing to sacrifice their own time and I guess, money just to try and grow something that they're passionate about. We've spoken about, everyone knows about the games that are going on in Vegas. So Manly taking on the Rabbitohs and the Roosters taking on the Broncos. But, Ady, that's not the only rugby league that's happening in Vegas this weekend. Can you run us through the schedule of the real stuff that's going on in Vegas, mate?
So just before we get onto that, I think it's important to tell your listeners that, I look at and I watch on the social medias and Twitter and all this sort of stuff, and people bag on about the NRL and they're just here to get gambling money. I've been fortunate to work with Brad Donald, Mike Castle, Brad Walter, and a couple of others that are putting on additional stuff throughout this week, and they are genuinely committed to growing the game out here. So I'll say I'm leaving 4 a.m. tomorrow to get up into Vegas early. We're going to go out, hopefully catch the Manly open training session in the morning, and then we've got to get to work with prepping for the Vegas Nines, which kicks off 9 a.m. on Thursday morning. That's going to run for 2 days. So you've got 15 men's teams, 10 women's teams participating in that. Knockout phases on the Friday. Wednesday night, there is a NRL refereeing course, which they're putting on for free. I believe Simon Buxton is providing that.
I know Bucko. He's a great bloke.
On
he never
Thursday
taught you to
night,
referee?
there is sorry, go on.
No, I was just wondering why Johnny never learned to referee, because he'd be an excellent referee.
No, I've been banned for life from going near referees off the field just because of my treatment of them on the field.
Because of your total times games spent suspended in your career.
Referees used to get fucking sick of me on the
You're
field.
bad. You're bad.
Anyway, carry on. Bucko's a great guy, and that's amazing that he's running that course. Yeah, carry on.
Thursday night, I believe there is a community coaching course, so the equivalent to the level 1, as most people would know it. And then outside of that, there's the NRL launch Thursday night, which is going to be done down on Fremont Street, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. They're already advertising that heavily in Vegas, so it should be a massive turnout there. Friday night, there's 2 events going on after the Nines. There's actually 3 Masters games. So you've got Canada, USA, and Australia. They're going to be playing a round robin of games Friday evening, and then that rolls into a recognized test match between the USA and Canada from a men's side. So that kind of caps off Friday night, and then obviously people think we're just rolling straight into the NRL games Saturday, but we're actually going to be I'm going to be working with the NRL guys on their combine that they've put together. So 25 men, 25 women being invited to go out. Part of it is going to be done at the UFC Institute. It's like a full day of testing, and what they've done is they've said that the best 2 women, best 2 men from that are going to be invited to go and train with NRL and NRLW teams in Australia on the NRL's dime, which I think is massive in terms of opportunities. And then we roll into event. The big games on Saturday night, which I'm stoked to see. And then I believe they're going to award trophies to the winning teams, both men's and women's teams from the nines, in front of what hopefully will be 40,000 people or so. So
That's unreal.
Okay,
massive week.
That's huge.
I'll get a few beers Saturday night, I think, at the end of it. And
yeah. We'll get you on the sideline. We'll do a live cross. It won't be live, but we'll pretend it's live next week.
As live. I've just been taking down everything you're saying there, Coach, like with that entire schedule. When does the copious drinking and gambling? Where is that in the? I can't see any space for that in the schedule.
No, don't worry. They'll find the time.
You might as well be in Bakersfield. There's no point doing this in Vegas, mate.
Well, I commit to doing this and supporting Brad and Mike when they kind of came to us, and Dustin's also assisting from Rugby League in America podcast.
Who are broadcasting the nines, right? He's broadcasting the nines? Dustin?
Yeah, so
that's great.
We're working out, we're going to have a minimum of 2 fields live streamed, hopefully get the third one done by Friday. But I'm going to miss that launch party on Thursday night because I commit to help him with the coaching course, and that's the whole purpose for me going there this week. I can go there and party whenever I want. It's an hour flight away, but I don't get to go and participate and do this sort of stuff with Rugby League, and be exposed to these people. And I think it's really important that I focus my efforts on that. Not just my team, but from a national team standpoint, identifying and trying to find, the future women, and obviously helping grow Pacific Coast Rugby League, because, the sky's the limit for us on there, and I'm keen to get more teams involved.
Ady Cooney, this is the Grapple podcast. You're hearing from the doyen of LA Mongrel.
He means business, this guy, doesn't he?
Sure does. I love what you're saying. What you're saying before about the player pool, the ever-expanding player pool, I'm really interested in what their perception of the NRL is, because whenever we hear it from over here, it's like, oh, those blokes love to run without pads and pull off the odd. They pick each other up and they drop them on their head. No, geez, it seems like a bit much. But is there a genuine desire over there for players to come and play here to make it in the NRL, or is it just all about let's build the game here, let's see what we can get to off the back of this?
So I think if you cast your mind back, 2 years ago when they were going to launch NARL, which was slated to be a professional competition year, and I think each team was going to get a $50,000 budget a year, if not more, to play. And the buzz that created, whether it came off or not, is irrelevant to me at this point, because you could see athletes, rugby union players going, I want to go and play professional. This is my dream ticket. They all want to have that status and throw it on the social media profile. I'm a pro rugby player. And the MLR here on a rugby union standpoint have done a fantastic job of doing that. But, I think that there's still a long way to go to get to the levels that potentially the NRL can deliver. But it's going to need to get some more of like the Aussie domestic teams and major teams involved here, and start build partnerships, and really get involved with growing the game. Because what we can't let happen is this event happens this week, and then they bugger off back to Australia and we hear nothing for 10 months, and then there's another 2 months buzz leading into it next year. That we've got to see continued effort from these teams and these people who are involved in this, to help grow the game here. And then ultimately, if they're looking for the next big thing, the next big player coming out of the US to go play in Australia, they'll find that. But you can't ignore what they're doing here. And, for us, World Cup qualification just around the corner for both men and women, wheelchair. There's a lot going on. There's been massive changes to the national governing body and the governance review, and there's some stability there now with some really good people on the board. David Abo, who's part of PCRl, has just been appointed the interim chair, brings an entirely different level of passion to the game here. And no disrespect to his predecessors, I think he's gonna help drive things in a slightly different direction, and hopefully get some more eyes on that. Obviously, there's still some legacy board members on there that will continue to really focus efforts and deliver in different parts as well. So a lot of change in the States this year, rugby league wise. It's like a new era, and like Johnny talked really early on about David Newey, those guys, if they hadn't have, had the balls to set it up many, many years ago, we wouldn't be where we are today. So I kind of tip my hat to those guys as well.
Are you still talking to David Abo? I thought he'd be off your Christmas card list. Or do you call it? Is he in your phone as Judas Abo? Yeah, because he was a mongrel. Abo was a mongrel.
Okay, all right.
Now he's a West LA jackrabbit.
You're kidding.
Oh yeah, he's gone and started.
He's jacked off the mongrel.
He's jacked off the mongrel and gone over there and started West LA jackrabbits. I don't think you'd be talking to him, mate.
What a diplomat you are, Ady.
It's not about me, and I've always been, honest with myself. If people don't like me, they don't want to play for me.
But on that, like this, I love what you're saying, and it's such a bigger picture than just 2 games of footy at Allegiant Stadium. Isn't
it is. It's so much broader, and I probably started talking to Ady in earnest about this maybe 3 months ago. So they announced that, and there was a bit of chatter over our, message thread or whatever with the mongrel, and I love just, seeing what's going on. So I stay in the message thread, and then I started talking to Ady in earnest about it about 3 months ago. And he's like, look, I've been talking to the NRL. Looks like we've got nines going on. Looks like we've got women's nines. Looks like we've got a Masters match going on. And I was like, holy shit. This is actually a really broad program. And as Ady said, I've been the first one to say it's all about gambling. But hearing that from Ady, and with him having that direct contact with the guys from the NRL who are over there, yeah, it's a nice trip to go to, but they're actually over there working.
Yeah.
Simon Buxton's a great fella. Castle's a good fella. So, they actually do have this view to try and, they're never going to compete with the NFL, but try and actually, find a hole to fit this game into over there. With a population of 350 million people, there's space for it.
Well, it's that, like we say, the building blocks are in place, the money is being spent. It's so interesting to hear just the scope of this beyond those games. But I'm wondering from a spectator point of view, Ady, but really appreciate you joining us. But can it win them over? Like if you're a everyday US sport fan, you're not opposed to watching NFL baseball. Oh, a bit of MLR pops up on TV from time to time. Sure, I'll watch that. Can rugby league grab you? And we've got Russell Crowe saying there's 2 sidelines and a try line.
They don't wear pads. They belt shit out of each other.
That's called a pass. That's called a kick. That's a goal. Is this going to help? Like, is it still a game that's a bit of a gimmick, a bit of a novelty? What needs to happen on the field on the weekend when these 4 teams go out there to win this market over, or at least begin that journey?
Well, I think when people see the game in the flesh, I mean, I've grown up with rugby league since I was, 4 or 5 years old. My uncle used to coach Keithley back in the day, and my dad used to take me to watch Great Britain Australia test matches. Yeah, we always lost, but this is the way it is. But seeing the game in the flesh to me is entirely different to watching it on the TV. I think you get a true understanding of the size of some of these players, the speed that they play at, and the skill levels that they've got. Obviously, that's got to translate into good TV coverage. And if, Peter Velde is going to pull off what we hope, which is, minimum 1 game a week on primetime TV in America here, people will watch it and go, shit, what's this? And I really like it and I really enjoy it because of that intensity. And I think that there are definitely some similarities to the NFL in terms of like the big hits, which, everybody likes to promote. Obviously, the speed in which it's played, the fact that, rugby league is very similar to the 4 downs that you would get versus his 6 players. So yeah. I think there are some similarities there. And I thought the job that Russell Crowe did was a really good analysis and explanation to the game. And, somebody starting out over here, you play them that video, they go, cool, right, I have an idea what I'm doing now, and get them in it.
It's interesting. It kind of had to be, didn't it? It kind of had to be, here's rugby league from rugby league for dummies, basically. Yeah. It had to be.
Hey, big shout out, Ady, to the Keithley Cougars over there in England, mate. You're his junior team and senior team.
Yeah. Big
shout out.
The Cougars.
Ady, I want to ask you about your shirt. You need to stand up and spread that shirt out because, we talked about Mongrel, And quite often people will say the LA Mongrels
Oh, this gets you, doesn't
when
it?
it's like saying the Melbourne Storms.
I had to say to our producer, Luke, before you arrived today, for the love of everything, don't say mongrels because Manning will walk out.
Well, let's have a look at 80's shirt. 80, mongrel. I love this noun. Tenacity, stubborn determination, a colloquial variant of the term doggedness used largely in Australia and New Zealand in the context of sports. Used in a sentence, the team won the game by showing more mongrel. Now, 80, we've had many conversations with many people about calling it mongrel, and it's not singular because it's a mentality. Tell me about mongrel mentality.
Yeah, this is a brand new T-shirt, fresh off the press today, and
Available for purchase.
I did it. Yeah, it's going to be, ship worldwide. No worries.
Are you getting a kickback here?
Yeah, I might. I'm happy to.
But I always talk about. I talk to my teams about this, and it's an attitude. And when the going gets tough, being able to dig deep and scrap through a little bit, we're made up of different people, different backgrounds, working class, lawyers, beauticians, you name it. We've got every gamut. But we all come together and we'll fight for each other. And that to me is that mongrel mentality of, regardless of what we're facing, whether it's trying to find players, whether it's trying to find money, whether it's trying to, fight on the field, we've got to push through. So, we've been, a few people have pushed, well, mongrels is there's more than one. It's like, we're not a pack of dogs, it's all up here.
God damn it, I love
That's
that.
beautifully said,
Isn't that
Ady
brilliant?
Cooney. This has been hugely insightful. The big week. It's so good to hear about the bigger picture, mate. Thank you for taking the time. What time is it now? How long we bailed you up for? Just for those that are just seeing the episode, poor Ady's been waiting for about an hour before we got to him as well. So
It's been worth the wait, though, hasn't it, Coach?
Hey, I had a full head of hair before I went to get.
Hey,
had time to print the shirt and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Should I could put an LA Mongrel shirt on here. Hey, they are available for purchase, right?
They will be this week.
Yep.
We'll be launching them around our store and just right around the corner from the NRL games. So we do ship worldwide. The print to order, so they'll always be available. Tell
me the social media handle so anyone who's listening can follow the guys at the LA Mongrel.
Yeah, LA_Mongrel for Instagram and X or Twitter, and LA Mongrel on Facebook. You can find us at lamongrel.com. You can find Pacific Coast Rugby League at pacificcoastrl.com. And obviously up there you'll have links to all of the other teams in there as well. So, it's not just about me, although appreciate the opportunity, but the league is a bigger picture, and we've got some really good guys involved across all of our teams. Ben's doing a fantastic job down in San Diego.
Yep.
They're both just starting out, and the guys up in Northern California are just getting going as well. So super pumped for what we've got. But thank you for the opportunity today.
I'll ask you finally, mate. Very simple question: will it work? Will Peter V'landys expand this empire?
I think it will. I think if they're going to put $200 million into it, and they, everybody said here you need to have something to look at and to kind of build from, and this is a perfect opportunity to do that. If people see pathways and opportunities that one day I might make it out there, then you'll start to see more grassroots growth of the game on the back of it. But you've got to have that high level visibility of the game for us all to see it on a week-to-week basis, and then people will start going, this is fantastic. I want to go watch State of Origin in Australia as my holiday next year instead of them coming to Vegas.
And then you come and chat with us in person in the studio, bro. How does that sound?
Yeah. All fantastic.
Right. Ady Cooney, head coach of the LA Mongrel, president of the Pacific Coast Rugby League, and Rugby League tragic. And you know what, Ady? Guys like you do not grow on trees. I want to thank you for joining us today, brother. All the very best. And, man, I can't wait to hear about how this entire week goes. It's fucking Christmas for you, bro, so go enjoy it, man.
Yeah, enjoy, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Don't tell your
Appreciate
wife,
that,
though.
and
Don't tell your wife how much you're
best of
putting
luck
in.
with the podcast as well.
Thanks, mate.
Good on you, Ady.
Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, give him a round of applause. First round of applause on the Grapple podcast.
First guest. What a coup. We got the head coach of the LA Mongrels for our very first episode.
Massive get. Oh, and you know what? It's so much because, you can look up NRL Vegas and you can read all about what's happening in those couple of games of footy on the weekend. But I love what he's speaking about. That bigger picture it's bigger than I thought it was.
Man,
I didn't realise.
It just fired me up.
I know. I got the shivers. It's not the beautiful aircon in here.
No,
it's 80s words.
Unbelievable.
It's fantastic. So, look, Vegas is happening. The Grapple podcast is happening. My name's Joel Spreadborough, joined by Johnny Manning. We're decked out in LA Mongrel kit, and I'm keeping this now after hearing what Ady had to say.
We're the Australian chapter of the Mongrel fan club. It used to be just me. Oh, Ty Linegar, if you're listening. Ty Linegar in Sydney. My buddy Ty.
Okay.
Shout out.
Oh, no, yeah, Ty, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Ty. There's a little bit to do with this podcast, potentially, maybe.
Yeah.
There's three of us now, so that's
yeah.
awesome. Let's have a quick look at the games themselves.
Changing gears.
Let's. Broncos were playing a bit of NFL at training the other day. I saw Mam find Tristan Saylor.
I think Marty Tapau found Reece Walsh as well, and a bit of a flagger out there.
Wasn't terrible.
Bit of an in and out route. Those. You ever watch on social media the quarterbacks or receivers talking about their plays and their route trees and things like that? It's another language. There's a clip going around. I digress for a minute. A clip going around right now, pre-Super Bowl. You got Sean Payton, head coach of the Denver Broncos, Super Bowl winning coach with New Orleans. Eli Manning, dual Super Bowl MVP, and Daniel Jones, current New York Giants quarterback. Daniel Jones is young. They're talking to a host and asking him questions, and then Peyton and Eli start talking about Eli's Super Bowl winning pass to Plaxico Burress in the 2008 Super Bowl where they beat the Patriots. And they start talking because Sean goes, actually, I remember watching that. Was that an X route or did you call a zero? And Eli's going, actually, no. And they just start putting words together that have absolutely no business being joined together in a sentence. It's just a jumble of words that they are talking to each other. They know exactly what they're saying. The host is lost like that. And even the current quarterback, you can see him just sink back into his chair. He's got no idea what these guys are talking about. And they have this entire conversation about, Z-Fly, X, I knew there was pressure coming from this spot. And it's this unbelievable language that, you just feel left out if you don't speak it.
Well, I love what you said. You said that before. The technical aspect of it is so immense that, we love saying about rugby league. Rugby league is a simple game. NFL's a pretty complicated one, and finding an athlete that can do it.
Well, to be an NFL quarterback, you've almost got to be some kind of savant. If you watch that quarterback TV show, you see that Kirk Cousins would read his plays into his phone, bang the headphones and start driving around. All the plays that are on his armband, X, Y, slant, Z, X, Liberty, all these different packages and combinations. They have to know exactly what that is. And then their decision-making, once the ball's snapped, think about having minimum of 4 6'5", 300-pound lunatics. Their sole goal in life is to destroy hurt you as much as they possibly can. Yeah. And you've got these seconds to go through, okay, is he open? Is he open? I know he's not open, but that's not the end of his route. I know where he's going to be. He will be open.
He'll get there.
You know what I mean? It's crazy.
It's incredible. Even watching Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl, like the game of his life, another game of his life, but sackings as well. Like they're absolutely hunted species
and casual.
So relaxed.
It's like the clock's ticking down at the end of extra time. He's like,
I didn't give a shit.
Just relaxing. Oh yeah, I think we're going to win it right here.
Yeah. Hey, but anyway, on that, Jared, we said that he who must not be named, Jared Hayne, who is going over. Let's talk top flight NRL. Who could make it? Who could make it?
A fit and hardened Latrell Mitchell could.
Mitchell, okay.
Now, reason being because of his measurables, right? He would no doubt have a pretty good vertical. He's about 6'4", right? He can run very well. He can change direction. He's got good hands. He's got all those things that tick, 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 tick. Now can we put all those physical attributes in a game like situation? So he'd be one that you'd probably go, maybe him.
Suaalii, he's come up a little bit just for that athleticism.
Suaalii would be one they would go for purely because height, size, speed, agility, all of those things. Okay, we'll give him a look.
Someone who hasn't mentioned it, Reece Walsh, is basically over there going, hey,
yeah.
check me out.
I'm not convinced Walsh has the physical stature to do it. You get some smaller guys over there. Like there's a guy called Darren Sproles who played for Carolina Panthers and New Orleans and a few other teams. He was very, very small. But you don't get too many Muggsy Bogues players over there. You know, there's Muggsy Bogues and there might be, is it D Brown?
Okay.
There's only a few guys under 6 foot in the NBA, just like the NFL. You only get a couple of guys who are smaller than everyone else and still manage to get past it. Maybe Reece might be a little bit lacking in that physical stature.
Couple of Alfie Langers, if you're lucky.
Yeah,
if
mate.
You're lucky.
I tend to think Joey Manu could probably
Manu.
He could probably do anything he wanted to.
Yeah,
that guy.
Honest.
I kind of feel like he's the guy. If you put a cricket bat in his hand, he's playing first drop for the Black Caps.
What about Saab for speed?
Yeah, Saab. Saab might want to put on a little
Saab.
bit of weight, but he'd be a good wide receiver.
Yep.
If you look at the forwards, I don't think we've got any linemen in there because both O-line and D-line men, maybe one of the Burgess boys as a young man could have played in one of the lines, maybe O-line, not D-line. Is there anyone there who I could see as a sort of a middle linebacker or an edge rusher? Maybe not at this point, but that's just off the top of my head. There might be someone in there who could sort of fly around and spy the quarterback a little bit. Those middle linebackers got to have a bit of size to hit the running back and potentially get through a block from an O-line, but then they've got to have a bit of speed to foot it with a slot receiver or a tight end or something like that. So I don't know.
Someone like, we spoke about size just quickly. He's even smaller than Reece Walsh, but as far as footwork and being able to just disappear in front of you, and Ezra Mam or something like that, is he far too small when you're sort of grading that minimum size?
I mean, I think so. I mean, Ady spoke about them having a rugby league combine. They do an NFL combine. It's on this week.
Yeah.
It's in Chicago. So basically all the college players who are nominating for the draft go to one town, they go to a field, and they go through all this testing. A lot of it's physical. There's some, psychological testing. They do a lot of, like probably that props questionnaire or shit like that they go through. But you do a 40-yard sprint. You do a broad jump, a vertical, max on 220, which is 100 kilos. Get your max out of bench on that. But they also measure your height. They measure your hands, basically measure the entire part of your body. They'll probably look at your parents as well. Has this kid still got some growing to do?
Yep.
So if you are small, you're starting from behind.
Yeah.
Because America's so big. If you're 5'7" and doing a 4.25 40-yard dash, there's someone who's 6'3" who's probably doing it, or someone who's 6'2" who's doing it.
So they've got those. You saw it with the Broncos. The Brisbane Broncos went and had the VIP night at Lakers HQ, and Big Payne Haas, huge unit in the NRL, is sitting there just going, "Holy shit balls! Look at the size of these dudes."
He could probably do something in the NFL because I put him in the same boat as Joey Manu. I think he could probably do anything.
I think people, when they see his motor, when they see his I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to go all day.
Yeah, and I mean, NFL's not about the size of your motor, but it's about the size of your, can you keep doing it down after down after down after down,
Interesting.
For
everyone that could make it there are a few that have made it here, Johnny. Three born and bred Americans have played in Australia. We've got 1953, one of the tours when they came over. Al Kirkland, his name was. He played the 1956 season with the Parramatta Eels as an outside back. Manfred Moore, you would have heard of Manfred Moore, Newtown. That's 1977.
Can I name the other one off the top of my head?
Let's go. Yeah, let's do it.
Is it Greg Smith?
It is 100%. Now, I love that you've named that because Greg Smith, famously, he trialled for the Philadelphia Eagles before coming home.
Newcastle?
Played a game.
One game for
Played
the
a game for the
Knights.
Knights. 1999. So not that long ago.
Was it 99?
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. So that and then these days, I love that Ady was talking about this as well. Players that are sort of going, oh, you know what? There's a bit going on in Australia. A few of them are backing themselves.
We had a fella come up and train with us at the Mongrel. His name was Max. Can't remember his surname. But he turned up and I'm like, this guy is yoked. Like he was jacked. Got him on the field. I'm like, man, this dude can move. Right? Had never played any sort of rugby union before or rugby league before. So didn't know about staying behind for a pass and got a little bit lost in the training session. I looked at his social media after that session, and it was him and Miami Dolphins kit.
Oh, wow.
So I don't think he ever played NFL, but he might have played a couple of trial games and been on a practice squad for the
Yep.
Miami Dolphins. But this guy I was like, my word, this guy's an athlete. And I guess what that does for me is illustrate the caliber of athlete out there that's not getting to play top level sport, that is lost to the sport potentially after high school or after college. And I think that's a sweet spot for the NRL.
Yep.
To look at those guys who don't get picked up by a D1 college, but do have that those physical attributes and those ball sports abilities. And then obviously out of college, if you're not getting drafted, what are you doing? You're going to the Canadian Football League or the XFL, which I don't know if that's even still going anymore. Maybe Rugby League's a place for you.
Okay, not MLR, put it that way. But, you know, it's interesting because will the game translate? I've had a little bit of concern about how physically ready this time of the season, the timing of it. It's great to start the season over there from a PR point of view, but from a player readiness point of view, are they fit enough? Are they strong enough? Are they battle-hardened enough to get out there? They're all taking it seriously enough, getting out, doing the training camps, that sort of thing. But I think the product, as Ady alluded to, needs to be massive. There's a few players featuring in that combine who are genuinely like, we want to go.
Well,
and
if they
do
dangle
things in
that
Australia.
carrot, you're going to come. Two of you guys are going to come and train with an NRL team.
Yep.
If you dangle that carrot, you're going to get a high quality of athlete turning up to that combine. Maybe not this year, but this is a 5-year deal, right? And this, I think, the learnings they're going to come away with. Okay, we can do this 100% better next year.
Okay.
You know, not saying they're not doing it well now, but I feel like they're going to come back with, oh my word, you know, the learnings that we get will improve the entire event exponentially.
Well said. Really well said. The Grapple podcast, and they'll have that video on loop. This is a pass.
Our video.
This is a
this
kick.
video here.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
yeah,
no,
ours
that
as well
video.
as Russell Crowe's, yeah.
But look, couple of good games though. Roosters, Broncos, Manly, Bunnies. Both all teams, you know, round about full strength. Tommy Turbo returns from Manly.
He's back. He's got them like a lot of people saying, give them a run. Give them a long run this year if he stays fit. As they say pretty much every year when he's fit, but will he stay fit is the question.
You know what I love about that Manly team? 3 Trebojeviches in the starting 13. It takes my mind back to, you know, when there was 3 Walters playing for Australia.
Yes.
And even, I'm pretty sure, I know it was South Sydney, but it might have been at the Broncos first when 3 Walker boys played in the one team for the I know they definitely happened at South Sydney.
Yep.
But
Ben,
I
Chris
think
and
it would have,
Shane trotting out together. Ben was locking down the Broncos for quite a period, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Then he went to Manly for a while and then to South Sydney. So,
yep.
All just wildly talented footballers, those Walker
speed
boys.
of Chris Walker, something else.
They made me sick playing against them. They were that good.
But you know what? For all the established stars like the Tommy Trebojeviches, the Reece Walshes of the world, there's a couple that are having the ultimate experience. I want to talk about.
Tell me about this.
Fletcher Baker making his NRL debut
in
Las Vegas.
That is bullshit.
Off the bench for the Brisbane Broncos.
Where do you go from there?
How does that happen?
Where do you go? Like,
what an off-season this kid has had, though.
You retire.
One and done. Do a Greg Smith.
Yeah.
That's enough. Do you remember your debut?
My NRL debut?
Yeah,
yes.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah, I do.
It wasn't in Vegas, but yeah, give us a quick
Mate,
recap.
I was 5 or 6 weeks back from a shoulder reconstruction. And it was when the Cairns Cyclones were our feeder team, not the Northern Pride, the precursor.
Yeah, right.
The Cairns Cyclones. And so I'd be training in Townsville, and on the Wednesday night or Tuesday night or whatever it was, you'd fly up to Cairns or drive up to Cairns and join the Cyclones. So I played one game of local league for the mighty University Saints, then went up to play for Cairns. And it was just this 1 week where we were at training, and it was the end of Tuesday training, and Sheensy's named this team, and then he's grabbed me and he said, "You're not going to Cairns tomorrow." This is Tim Sheens, sorry. He said, "You're not going to Cairns tomorrow." I'm like, "Why not?" He goes, "Oh, I just need you to hang around." I'm like, "Oh, okay, no worries." So I, didn't think I was any chance of playing first grade at that weekend. So we go through Wednesday's day off, go through Thursday training, get to Friday. We train on Friday. And naming the final teams, there's a few injuries. I think Brett Hetherington was injured, and he couldn't finish the Friday session. So I'm sitting around. I'm probably got a bit of grass, poking it in my shoe as he's naming the team, and he gets to number 17, and he goes, and Mano, you'll be playing. And I'm not even sure if I heard. I'm like, hang on, did I just dream him saying my name? I didn't want to act, You know what? I'm just like, hey, the whole Barry Sanders thing. Just pretend like you've been there before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then a few people turned around. There was a bit of a, yeah, Manno's going to be making his debut this weekend. And I'm like, oh, shit. And then I think, okay, who are we playing again?
Yeah.
It's 1999, right? Picture the year, 1999.
Okay, yeah, I'm there.
And it's in August 99. So it's coming up to about a month out from finals.
It's getting serious.
Melbourne Storm.
You're joking.
No.
Right? Eventual premiers.
And then, get this. I was named to start in the front row.
You debuted against Glenn Lazarus.
I was against the brick. I was 100 kilos wringing wet.
Yeah.
And I'm named at number 19 or whatever number it was, starting in the front row. And I'm like, you know when you get nervous and it feels like your entire insides are going to spew out your... That was me. I was like, oh, shit. So I went home and I called my parents and my brothers and I'm like, hey, I'm making my first grade debut tomorrow. I don't remember much about that night. I'm a pretty good sleeper, right? I don't lose a lot of sleep. So I slept and everything. Woke up the next morning. You just go through your game day ritual, your food and everything, but you're actually going to play first grade rugby league that night. You're going to realise your childhood dream. And I turned up to the stadium and Heathrow was right to play. Brett Hetherington was so there was two other guys named on the extended bench, good friends of mine, Greg Burke and Lee McWilliams. And one of us was going to miss out. And Berkey had played first grade before, and I think Lee Mack had made his debut earlier in the year. So I'm getting dressed, and I'm like, wow, Heather's
It might
playing.
not be me. Yeah.
I'm not playing. It's going to be Berkey and Lee Mack. It's not going to be me.
Yeah.
And, okay, everyone go for a warm-up. And I'm like, am I not being told if I'm playing yet? I'm like, all right. So when I warmed up, basically held the pads for everyone during warm-up, did very little of a warm-up myself. And then there's in the stadiums at, I think it was Dairy Farmers Stadium at the time, whatever the old stadium in town.
Yep.
There was just like this little sort of room off to the side from the dressing room in between like the toilets. And the three of us were sitting in there like we were waiting to see who was going to have to walk the plank.
Yeah.
And I think he just came in and said, you two are playing. And poor old Berkey had to go and get undressed. And so that's how I made my first grade debut. Off the bench, named to start, off the bench. And I still remember... after the game, taking off my jersey, and I had a proper Nike boot print on my chest.
Yeah,
you could probably almost see the Nike swoosh of Glenn Lazarus' boot because I went up to hit him, and I just bounced straight off, and he just put his foot on my chest on the way through.
Yeah, unstoppable force.
Yeah,
it's like, sorry, future senator.
Yeah, it was crazy, unbelievably. Very, very difficult to tackle was the brick with eyes. But they had Robbie Kearns, Tawera and Nick Howe.
Mate.
Richard Swain, Paul Marquette, Rodney Howe. This was a
Richard
team.
Swain, one of the great number nines. Yeah. At the peak of his powers, that premiership side, absolutely crafting.
The great Rusty Bowden.
Oh, Russell Bowden, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Anyway,
Robbie Ross?
Robbie Ross was fullback. Yeah. Mooley was in the centres.
Matty Geyer, of course.
Yeah,
current
Buffel was
coach
there.
of the mighty Currumbin Eagles as well.
They only beat us by 4 points, 26-22.
You got a souvenir on the...
Eventual premiers.
Yeah.
We took to the... Brian Jellick scored a couple of great tries for us.
The Melbourne Storm, second-year premiers. Not jealous as all as a Broncos fan. It took us 5 years, but that's all right. Now, the Grapple podcast, it's been great. Let's get back to Australia. We're very excited about Vegas, but some sad news in Australian rugby league circles and indeed around the world. A guy who played a huge role, especially in Queensland, but also over in the UK, Johnny Redcliffe, QRL, Queensland Rugby League, and of course Castleford over, and the South Queensland Crushers, I should say as well, the mighty Crushers. Daryl van der Velde passing away at 72 years of age. You knew him personally?
Yeah. I knew Daryl. He was very, very... He played in Mackay in the 70s in my hometown, and he left an amazing legacy in Mackay. But he was best friends with my high school football coach, Mickey April, who passed away probably about 18 months ago, and Daryl spoke at his funeral. Very softly spoken man, Daryl, but commanded your attention. Big hands, very direct stare he had at you, and was just a big fella as well, but a statesman of the game, and a wonderful advocate of junior players, coming through. When he was at the Crushers as an administrator, he brought a stack of guys from my school to didn't bring me. didn't pick me, but that's okay.
That's okay.
But I'm not bitter about it.
You're good.
That's all right. But he, he was very, very good at recognizing talent. He was a really good administrator, and he was just a really good bloke.
Yeah.
And I've heard that his passing was quite sudden as well. So it's a really, really sad story. And he's going to be. There'll be a field or a medal or a trophy or something named after him.
Oh, absolutely.
Such as his impact on the game of rugby league, especially here in Queensland.
Well, the old BRL too, East, Souths,
Yeah.
Redcliffe Dolphins, of course, in their long history. He's one of the standouts as well. And Castleford, Huddersfield, Warrington, and the guy who got Alfie Langer over to Warrington as well.
Oh, yes, of course
yeah.
he is.
Yeah. So Alfie, obviously, like so many people, absolutely rattled by his passing suddenly. But Varley, and rest in peace to the great Daryl van der Velde, who's passed away aged 72. And it's great to hear that insight, mate, when you hear someone who's had a bit to do with him. But you know what? He didn't take you down to the Crushers. You could have gone to him years later and shown him that Nike imprint and gone, you could have had this, Daryl. That could have been yours.
Yeah, he said we still wouldn't have wanted it.
Okay, the trials are over. NRL action not too far away, Johnny. Really quickly, your take on the trials. Did you get anything out of them?
No. I mean, we got 2 ACLs out of it. We got Tommy Gilbert and Cohen Hess. And I'm not jumping up and down saying we shouldn't play these trials. You've got to play the trials. But, man, that is heartbreak for those guys. Tommy Gilbert just coming off the back of his shoulder reconstruction. I'm devastated for that fella. He's just a born competitor. And and
he loves that jersey. He fit into that jersey and began owning that Dolphins jersey quick smart last year.
He also had a mortgage on a Maroons jersey 100%. As well. 100%. He'd had such amazing impact. Cohen Hess is going to be a huge loss for the Cowboys. Now, on the field, he does a great job, but his real, contribution comes at training. He's the Energizer Bunny at training. He brings that energy. He's always happy. He's got a great demeanor about him. He's as big as a house. Mm-hmm. He's strong. He trains hard. He's fit. He really brings the boys together. He gives the coach a bit of shit when he needs to.
Yep.
He's that kind of guy.
So he's kind of a good middleman.
He's just going to be sorely missed around that playing group, and I'm absolutely shattered for the both of them.
These are 2 young players, and I love that you pointed it out, that have had some pretty, lofty accolades early on. Tommy Gilbert, Cohen Hess as well, played Origin when he was really young.
Yeah.
They've both had a bit of a trot. Tommy Gilbert, as you say, coming off that shoulder, now the knee. How do you stay? Like, how do you come back on the other? Ryan
so
Pappenhausen,
hard.
great
it's
example.
So hard.
How do you do it?
It breaks a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it ultimately broke me. My third ACL, I just couldn't do it again.
Yeah.
And do I look back and say, geez, I wish I could? Maybe I do, but at the time, I was like, I can't do this again.
Mm-hmm.
It is so hard. It's made a lot easier nowadays, because you do have a lot of support around you. But when I was injured, you would get treated like a leper at the footy club. Now, a lot of the players wouldn't want to be around you because literally no one wants to be around the sad sack injured guy, and you think their luck's going to rub off on you. That's the God's honest.
That's how superstitious it is.
God's honest truth. No one wants to be around the injured guys. So you take solace with the other guys who are injured. You become really, really tight with everyone else in the injury crew because no one else wants to fucking know anything about you.
Become a pariah. Wow.
I can remember getting forgotten about for a team photo.
You're kidding.
Once when I was injured.
So hang on, you're there with your kit ready to go.
No, I turned up to train because your injury guys train at different times.
Yeah.
I turned up to train and I saw the team all coming in their kit and I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they said, team photo. They just had the team photo and they'd forgotten about me.
Oh.
So it is so hard.
Yeah.
So there's that element. Then there's the element about how do I come back? Am I going to be the same player? The head noise about starting to run again on that knee, and you feel like it's going to snap at any given time. It is so hard.
So really fascinating to hear that about the club, because if anything, you'd expect that to become the cocoon.
I think it's probably better now.
Yep.
But that's a little bit of my experience.
What about the NRL, player welfare wise? You're out. Is there any provision or anything helping you out there? Is it all just sort of
not when I was around? No.
Yeah.
No. But there are things in place right now where their salary and wages are protected to an extent. Yeah.
Well, look, Tommy Gilbert, Cohen Hess, never good to see. Massive pre-seasons for both of them. Big years ahead, especially, as we say once again, Tommy Gilbert coming back from that shoulder, now gone for the season. So look, didn't love that about the trials. Did love the Brisbane Broncos picking up that 100 grand.
And maybe we saw a few young guys who are going to, potentially make an impact this year.
Yep.
Jackson Purdy for the Broncos, young Strange for the Raiders looked really, really good. So maybe we sort of got a bit of an idea of the depth that's around some of the teams. But, the first probably week or two of the NRL, they're almost the trials these days. You want to hit the ground running, but you'll see a lot of teams potentially just feeling their way through what's going on. I mean, the Panthers even lost the World Club Challenge.
Controversial.
Controversial. Oh, my word. What a diabolical, absolute
shit show.
Sham that was. Anyway.
That's a strange decision. It reminded me of a try. Kerrod Walters scored a try. I think we're going back to 1992 when he has basically thrown the ball over the line. Done the old arm out and just, you know what, I can't quite reach, so I'm going to baseball toss it over the line.
I can remember Peter Jackson in support. And the wide shot shows as he's trying to ground the ball, Peter Jackson goes,
"Oh no!" I mean,
like that,
yeah.
And then old Hollywood Bill Harrigan, and then the look on Karen Walters' face is like, "What?"
I'll take it. An absolute travesty. But that's what happened to the Panthers, going down to Wigan, the World Club Challenge on the back of some shithouse calls. And a ball clearly not over the try line.
Not even close to
try, but that's all right.
Not even close. Anyway.
We'll look into that. The Cowboys NRLW, you mentioned Jackson Purdy, big raps as well, but they've also secured a new coach, Rick Henry, of course, making the way up, coming from the Kiwi Ferns. I think that's a pretty bloody good get for the NRLW side.
I think it's really good. Shows the growth that's happening in that game.
Absolutely. There's some good coaches getting around, some quality players as
Yeah.
well. I was talking about that before. Liz Tafuma, that's the name I wanted to mention just quickly. She's got the American, the Sevens background, a little bit of rugby union, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Got parachuted into the Kiwi Ferns extended squad for the last World Cup. Did okay. We're still like, where's that? What's that ball? Is now part of the combine over there and is leading the charge saying, come with me, come to Australia if we can get there. Let's get a big flock of American athletes over there and see what we can do.
Wow.
She's based in America, but got the Kiwi, the Maori heritage. But it's extraordinary to see. It really is. I'm just loving to see where this journey leads. This American Odyssey. It's going to be fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Quick tips.
Ooh, okay. Who knows? I think the Roosters get the Broncos, and by no means any indication of the Roosters finishing above the Broncos. I think the Roosters are going to have a big year, but I think they get them, and I think South Sydney get Manly.
Okay.
But Tommy Turbo could just become some kind of freak of nature and turn that entire game on its head. Who knows?
This gives us something to throw eggs at each other on the next episode because I'm going Broncos Manly.
Yeah, and can I just bookend what I'm saying
Yeah.
with the fact that I'm a terrible judge.
You're going to die on the hill nonetheless.
No. I'm a horrible judge. Whatever I pick, the opposite's going to happen.
Biggest signing of the year. Quick predictions.
Oh, as in who's going to be the best buy of the year?
Yeah, best buy of the year.
Best buy of the year. Luke Brooks.
Good
I think
call.
I think he's going to find some real form outside DCE.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. I like Avarillo. I like Jake. I like
love
that
Avarillo.
signing. He's gone under the radar with Farnworth and Flegler going to the Dolphins, but I really like Jake Avarillo. I think he can make that his own and go to some
he's
great
a quality
heights.
player.
Worst signing.
I don't want to go into who's going to be the worst signing. I mean, that you're saying someone's going to go somewhere and not succeed. I don't really want to.
You don't want to be negative.
No, I don't think there's any point in doing that. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
There are no worst signings.
well, there's going to be one, but
It might not be saying that they go and play shit, but it doesn't work out. It's not the best move for them. They might go on and prosper elsewhere.
yeah, I don't know.
You want to stay out of it?
Yeah, I'll stay out of that
You
one.
gonna stay out of that one?
You could pick that one.
I'm a little bit on the fence with that one. I think anyone could work on any given day. And,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like
it's a
everyone
tough
to do
one.
well.
It's like that whole rugby league week player poll when they do who's the most overrated.
I don't like that.
Whenever they ask me that, I'd decline to answer.
Yeah, that's bullshit. No, it more in a context of, is it going to fit into the culture of the club, the way the club plays, all of that sort of thing. But I don't think the club spend the amount of time recruiting.
There's going to be a question mark next year over Luai, leaving that machine that is Penrith and going to the project that is the West Tigers. So that's a year away, but that's going to be And interesting, he could be their best signing ever, or he could be a bust. We don't know.
Could go anywhere.
Yeah.
Could be the West Panthers before too long, and the Canterbury Panthers as well.
Parramatta West.
Any
Penrith
code jumpers you see in advance?
Well,
Obviously, we got RTS coming back for the Warriors.
Yeah, and we got Nakanta Kinawasa.
Yep.
I said that name wrong.
You
It
did,
sounded like
look-
a swear word. But
Mark Nawa Katinawaze.
I knew it on the weekend.
Yeah, me
I could,
too.
I could play it on the weekend.
He's fast. He's
yeah,
fit.
Yeah. He's a quality player as well. And obviously, so that's a bit of a swap with him and Swaliti.
Yep.
The hate for Swaliti's been absolutely unwarranted,
Mhm.
and I will stand up and argue till I'm blue in the face that what he's doing is amazing
I'm
and
fine
awesome.
with it. Yeah.
And he should be in every Roosters team pick between now and when he leaves.
I really hope he is. Because this is this sort of shit like going all the way back to the Sonny Bill, the Canterbury thing. I remember Justin Hodges, 2002. He didn't jump codes, but he signed with the Roosters, and Wayne Bennett said, "Fuck you, you're done."
Yep.
I don't like that sort of shit.
No.
Like you're there to, and players like that, it's in your best interest to play them. They're
I couldn't
incredible
agree more.
athletes.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what? If a player wants to test himself and go to a different coach, just like any of these guys want to try their hand at NFL. Like whilst I'm saying it's the Grand Canyon of a chasm, go have a go.
Yeah.
Go do it. Follow your dream. Be awesome.
Get out
Be
there.
amazing. Go be fucking amazing.
Swing for the fences.
That's what I'm saying about Swahili. Go be amazing.
Yep. Dally M.
Oh, Dally M. Injury's going to play a big part. Origin's going to play a big part. I am going to say, I'm going to go out on a limb here. No one's going to like this call. No one's going to like it, but I reckon he's going to be fit all year. Latrell Mitchell.
You're going to go Latrell. A fit and a dominant Latrell.
A fit Latrell playing every
Okay.
week, I think he can win a Dally M.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the Broncos, but I genuinely think if he can have another year like he did last year, Reece Walsh will be
Oh, no arguments here.
hard to top, I should say. No bias here whatsoever, but Origin.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Okay, Blues. No kidding. Your grand final?
My grand final. I think the Panthers miss out.
Yeah, I did too.
I think it's going to be a 2015 repeat.
You reckon a Cows? Really?
I think it's going to be a Cows Broncos.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it very
Once
much.
again, I'm a terrible judge, but I think it's, and I mean, I'm a Cows man. So, I don't have to say that, but I actually I think they're due for a real bounce back year.
Yeah, sure.
They're going to miss Cohen Hess. They do have a bit of depth in that space. So Jordan McLean, who would have been coming off the bench, will start. Not doing too bad if Jordan McLean's your replacement starting front row.
Get him into a Blues jersey. Just give him. That was another heartbreaking story when he was that close. And to get him in there. I've got a repeat of the 2000 grand final. The Broncos and the Roosters doing the dance.
That's not a silly thought either. That could definitely happen.
Got a feeling. You never know.
Yeah.
Grand final entertainment really quickly.
Oh, for God's sake.
Jimmy Barnes.
It's going to be terrible. You're spending $200 million going to the US. Get the grand final entertainment right.
Yeah.
Get it right.
Usher.
You're telling us we're bigger than the AFL. Show us.
Yeah, spend
Go
the money.
get the Foo Fighters. Go drop whatever it takes. Get the Foo Fighters.
I love that.
Go get them.
Yeah, they can do
Go
it.
knock on Dave Grohl's door and say, hey, we played Allegiant Stadium. See all this fanfare. Come play our grand final.
Yeah. Russell Crowe would have his number. Use Russell.
Hugh Jackman would have his number.
Yeah.
Go get the freaking Foo Fighters, man.
This is a pass. This is a kick. This is grand final day. This is a play the ball. Father to a murdered son.
Husband to a murdered wife.
I will have my vengeance.
This life for the next.
This is the Grapple Podcast. It's been a lot of fun. Episode 1. Thank you for coming along for the ride, Johnny.
Hey.
It was great to hear.
Give yourself a hand. You're amazing.
Little pat on the
Absolutely
back with my pen
amazing.
here. It's been good. Big shout out to River City Studios and our producer, Dally Messenger. I'm not going to say his name, but his nickname's Dally.
Yes.
You will find out.
He's
who he is.
unreal
He's
in
awesome.
what he does. He's a wizard back there.
Yeah, it's-
We might have to pull the curtain back on that one, man.
I reckon we
Show his
might.
character's face.
Yeah, we'll reveal him. We'll
At some
reveal him.
point.
Like it,
The
share it,
wizard.
subscribe it. Tarrant, yeah, it's Gary Freeman. There you go. Tell everyone you know. It's the Grapple Podcast. It's all about rugby league, and we'll get some other sport in as well. Did you get your Mackenzie Arnold Matildas jersey before they sold out? in
I'm on the
15
waiting
minutes?
list.
Yeah.
It's actually sold out.
Good. That's all. I love every news outlet in the country, just quickly, was advertising for Nike and Adidas yesterday. It was just brilliant.
Was the ABC?
Yeah, it sure
There you
was.
go.
It sure was. Guess what, everyone? This jersey is on sale right now. You're hearing it here on commercial free ABC, everywhere, all around the country. Anyway, it's been fun. We'll see you next time, Johnny.
Cheerio. Go Vegas. Amazing. USA. USA. USA.
Viva la
All right.
Mic drop.
Peace out.